Could you use a quick tip daily? How about a tip that can impact your day? My name is Raphael. Join me as I bring you tips by experts around the world. These experts have shared their knowledge and wisdom with me and will directly share them with you. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow, and comment, and I would love for you to become part of the New Tip Daily community. Good morning, Colin. Thank you so much for joining me on New Tip Daily today. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm really good, thank you. Happy Friday. Weekend
Happy
is almost
Friday.
upon us. So
That's it.
all is great.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about one of the tips that you want to give, and it's such an
Mhm.
important tip, I believe. I'd love to hear more about it.
Sure, sure. So my idea or concept is that there is a moment, most likely in the morning, but there's moments throughout the day that I call Flint stone moments. And those are moments, and they're a nanosecond, where we decide whether we're going to go up and look up towards creativity, positivity, co-creation, all of the great things that can happen to us and with our work. Or we can decide to look down, right, and start to spiral down into sort of negative storytelling or drama or conflict, things like that. So my tip of the day is remember that it's a decision. And it's a Flintstone moment. It's that moment where the rock hits the rock and the spark goes. So decide, are you going to go up or are you going to go down? And one of the sort of parallel tips is, if you like, associated with this is stop watching the news and start gaining knowledge. Right. So the news cycle is a very easy way to ensure that you keep looking down, right? Because you get trapped in that negative loop of information. So my sort of second tip connected to the Flintstone moment is whatever business you're in, whatever you're doing, go and find the history, the geopolitics, the mega trends, the knowledge, the Substack readers or writers, that are going to contribute to your success, right? That will make that Flintstone moment more up than down. So
Yeah.
that's really my tip for the day.
I love it. When we think about the Flintstone moment, right? You made me think of rubbernecking. What happens to traffic? It slows down because everybody wants to see what happened. Meanwhile, it's affecting them, it's affecting everyone. And a lot of times when people rubberneck, there's additional accidents. So if you think of your life that way, stop
Yeah,
rubbernecking, right, people? Stop
yeah,
rubbernecking and focus on what's in front of you, which is your life, your family, what matters most. I agree with you 1,000%. So
yeah,
I love, one of the things that the news is, and you told me earlier, it's more of an entertainment value. People want to be entertained because
yeah.
they want to see. It's a shame that this has the truth. People want to see tragedy, don't they?
Well, it's yeah. I mean, it's part of our human nature, right?
Mm,
But ask yourself, is it serving you? Okay. And look, I'm all for jumping on YouTube or watching, going down some rabbit hole, but you've got to recognize that it's a little bit like eating a box of chocolates, right?
mm,
Recognize that you're eating candy,
mm.
okay? And just ask yourself, is it serving me? How much is it serving me? Am I just going to have one bite, or am I going to eat the whole box? And what happens, I think, if you eat the whole box of the news cycle within the echo chamber that's being fed to you, um, you going back to the traffic analogy, it's like being stuck in a traffic jam, right?
Mm, mhm.
You're not in flow. Or at least it it slows down that flow, slows
Right.
down that creativity, slows down the ideas, and makes you, or contributes to you being unfocused. I was speaking to somebody recently precisely about this, and she was saying, "Oh, wow, I should stop watching the late night news before I go to bed."
Big time.
You know, because it kind of dawned on her that, you know, for her entire adult life, the practice was, you know, you watch the 6 o'clock news and you watch the 10 p.m. news or whatever. It just became sort of a ritualistic habit,
Mm,
but it was, you know, contributing to anxiety, contributing to, you know, not, you know, bad, poor sleep patterns. That has the waterfall effect of, you know, you get up in the morning and you're not a peak performer, right?
right.
So it has a much greater impact on people than I think we recognize. So um, that's really the tip, is to recognize that moment where you're going to go up or down, right? It's a
Mm,
Flintstone moment. It's a nanosecond, but you can decide. And you want to make sure that all the contributing factors to that moment are are constructive, and that they're serving you. Are they filling your gas tank, or are they emptying it? You know, oh, back to the car analogy. Sorry,
right. Yeah.
but that's the idea.
Yeah. Well, I like it to think of when the last thing that is in our mind before we go to sleep.
Mm,
That's going to probably affect our sleep patterns,
yep,
as well as our dreaming state. One of the things
sure,
that I love to do is either I'm going to read before I go to sleep, or I'm going to watch something funny, right?
yeah,
And I don't subscribe to television. I can't recall. Well, I can recall when I go to somebody's house, they have the TV on. Maybe I'll look at something, but
right,
I have not seen the news. I've been on the news because I used to go every 2 weeks. I used to be part of the news. I used to do their fitness segment every 2 weeks,
okay, yep,
and but so I was part of the news. But
right,
I
right,
stopped watching the news. So I think last time I watched the news, I was in my 20s. So
right,
what I do now is if I want to know what's going on in the world, I click onto a radio station as I'm driving, and in 5 minutes, I know what's going on. That's it.
right,
I
right.
don't need to know the little details as they're going to get into. I don't need to know what the Kardashians are doing because I really could care less. You know, let them live their
Well,
life. People are interested in the wrong things. And you talked about knowledge.
mm, well, I totally agree. You know, it, it, it's funny. I've had these conversations with coaching clients about things like focus and positivity, and, you know, abundance, or sort of law of attraction, and all these things, and they I've often heard that, you know, oh, I need to be informed.
Mm,
Okay, well, really? You know, how much is that particular segment on the news contributing to your day-to-day life? You know, um, I suppose if it's hyper localized, it is, right.
right.
If it's about your neighborhood, or your community, but more often than not, it's about some kind of tragedy around the world, or in another part of the country, or like you say, it's gossip, or whatever. It doesn't relate to you. And then so
Mm,
often it's also, I mean, I heard about a segment on one of the big um, broadcasters recently about depression, right? And it was, you know, they were saying, oh, you should be aware, and, you know, there's medication and stuff, but it's like they don't address the root cause, right? Well, why aren't they talking to you about nutrition, or about
mhm,
fitness,
right.
or about any of the other or about living in authenticity, any of the other contributing elements? So often you get this superficial,
Yeah.
you know, part of it anyway. So how helpful is it? How much do you need to be informed? So that's why I'm saying to my clients, get away from sort of news consumption to information consumption, but that's tailored to you. So I think we also live in a world where you can completely tailor any kind of feed that you're getting, whether it's an RSS or podcasts or Substack or things like that. You can get information tailor made to you. So that's really my suggestion: is get knowledge that's tailor made to you, your family situation, your professional situation, so that you can thrive, as opposed to being brought down. And it will make those Flintstone moments throughout your day easier to look up, not look down,
Right.
stay positive, and stay in that sort of that vortex of creativity and positivity.
I love everything you're talking about. One of the thoughts that came to mind is information overload. And a
Oh,
lot of people go into that. And, when we're all trying to level up, sometimes we get information overload and we don't know how to decipher what is important for us. So, one of the
mm-hmm.
things that I always tell my clients is to do a brain dump. Every night, write down the things that matter, the things that you experience, the things that you want to accomplish tomorrow. So, it's that evening routine that I go through. I journal a lot because I
Right.
need to know what is going on in this brain of mine.
Yeah.
And then also, what do I allow to enter it, right? Because so many times we do get that overload. I mean, you walk out your door, you go, you get in your car, you get on the highway, you're going to see signs everywhere. You get on a local
Mm-hmm.
street, you get all these
Mm-hmm.
things driving and toxic. It's all toxic in a way,
Yeah.
but you have to decide, what do I allow in? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100%. And look, remember too that from an evolutionary from an evolutionary biology perspective, we weren't made for all of this. Our bodies are the same. We're the same physicality as we were 200 years ago, where none of this was happening, and nobody knows today well, I mean, I think you can intuitively see the impact with all the mental health issues that are going on in the United States and everywhere. But we haven't measured yet, what is the impact of Facebook? What is the impact of Twitter? What is the impact of all of this hyper novel, intense information overload? Right?
Yeah.
I think it's very damaging. And one of the practices that I do, I haven't been journaling as much lately, and I'm going to start doing that again. That's a great suggestion. I've been really doing having very focused days. So I work on multiple projects, right? I'm a strategic advisor. I'm a coach. So I've got lots of things going on, and I actually decided recently that I would spend one day on a specific project, and I would be totally focused on it. And then another day it's this project, another day it's that project. And I have to say that focus has been, and I've structured it into my diary, so it's there. That focus has been really beneficial because even you and I, who are aware of these things, this information overload and things coming at you from every direction, even for somebody like you and I, who are very attentive to it, it can get in the way. It's I was speaking to somebody recently, and I was saying it's like we're on a battlefield today,
We sure are.
and I said to somebody that I said, you need to have almost like Superman's kryptonite, put a wall up, and I don't mean like a shut everybody off, the usual walls that we have because of how we were grown up and things like that, or putting on masks. I'm like, no, it's like a protective barrier from all of this information and all of this bombardment from every direction. You have to protect yourself because it's super toxic.
You're making me think of, when you said Superman kryptonite, you're making me think The Matrix, right? You got to plug in so to know what's real, what's not.
Oh
Because
well,
remember when Neil was learning all different things,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden he turns around and he goes, "I know kung fu," so that was pretty cool.
Well, I mean, we don't have enough time today to go into
Right,
that,
right,
the concept of the matrix, but we could have a whole other conversation on that.
yeah,
What is real, what is not, what is, and we don't have to get all metaphysical, but what is truly important to you,
mm,
and then just push back on all the rest. I think that's really really important, um, because all of these things are impacting us, and you can see it in the data and the numbers and um, the challenges that people are facing today
yeah, yeah,
in our hyper novel, hyper modern, hyper connected society.
yeah. I mean, you don't want on your epitaph saying, "Hey, you know what? They were really good on social media," right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
you want to, if you think of your obituary, right? It's literally sometimes if they put it in the paper, it's what, like a paragraph? And what do you want people to even say? And then the other question is, who do you want around you? Do you want real people, fake people, people who care about you, people? And also the other thing is when we overwork, people are not going to say, hey, you know what? He was a great worker. Okay, the
Yeah,
end, right? We want to
yeah.
say they were a great family person. They cared, they
Hmm.
contributed, they did this,
Yeah.
they did that, so that we can have a life that is worth living, but not a life that we're copying because we're all unique. We should not copy what the Joneses are doing or what Mary is doing or John is doing. We should have that unique experience daily. So every day when I wake up in the morning, one of the first things I do, I go through my gratitude.
Mm,
And I do
sure.
my gratitudes, and I also, I'm one of those cold shower guys. So I take a cold
Yep.
shower, and even in my cold shower, I go through my gratitudes. And
Hmm.
for me, it's always about gratitude. And even sometimes during the middle of the day, somebody will say something, and I'm like so grateful they even said it
Hmm.
or they did certain things.
Right.
And
Right.
the other day, I do something at my school. I have several businesses. One of my businesses is
Yeah.
martial arts, and I deal with
Yep.
kids.
Yep.
And I want to make them all feel good, but sometimes I got to let them know, hey, listen, just because you were good didn't mean you shined. You didn't try hard
Mhm.
enough. You were
Huh.
goofing off.
Right.
So I
Right.
every day I have student of the day.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yesterday I had a bunch of kids. Actually, it was on Tuesday. I had a bunch of kids who were phenomenal. And I said, okay, I can't, you guys are too cute. You're doing amazing things. All of you tried super hard today. And they
Yeah.
all expect me to call out one kid. And I said, it was like 10 of them. And I said, you're all student. They're like, whoa. And then what I do is I have a basket and I go and buy toys for them. So
Okay.
this what I do with them is I teach them the value of saving for something. So in
Hmm.
this basket, I have toys. So I buy all kinds of different toys for these kids. It's a big basket, all different toys.
Right.
I also put in gold coins, plastic gold coins. And I said, with the gold
Okay.
coins, you can buy these books. Your parents can't buy the books. Only you can buy them with the gold coins. You have to collect a certain amount of gold coins to get this
Oh
book,
wow. Very
to get
cool.
that book, to get this book. So I encourage them. And then I have like really cool, fun books for the kids, and they're all displayed. And some of the kids, all they see is a toy. Other
Mm,
kids go, huh, I want a gold coin because
right.
I want that book over there. So I'm teaching them the
Right.
value of
Oh, that's great.
doing something positive to get something,
Hmm.
right? Not just a fast
Right.
reward. The
Yeah.
younger
Yeah.
ones are always going to go for the toys. The older ones will go for the reward, right? So it's a
Sure.
different reward system that we can think about. So that's
That's
how. So when I told the parents, I said, "Hey, they're like, oh, these are really." amazing toys that you got for the kids. Thank you so much." I said, "Oh, no problem." I said, "I got to tell you, when I went shopping just the other day for the kids, I was picking this toy and I go, oh, they're really going to like this one. I was picking this toy, and the parents like, you really care about our kids, don't you?" I said, "I want them to have a great experience." And so that interaction just with the parents outside of
Mhm.
class showed them how much I value their kids. And it just reinforced the values that I'm instilling in the children. So
Yeah,
it just,
beautiful.
the connection just really was really beautiful for me anyway,
I mean, it's so important, right? The human connection, and uh, again, I think we're living in a time where that human connection is really challenging, and you see it in all sorts. Again, I go back to the data and the evidence. Fertility rates are down 20% since smartphones were brought to
Mm,
market. All of these things that have disconnected us. That's why
mhm.
I'm on this. I'm really on this mission to to rem, to remind everybody about our common humanity.
Yes.
Right? We're human beings on a little pebble flying through the galaxy.
Mhm.
So I'm like, let's try and remember that and have that connection, because that's
Right.
all we've got, really. And this isn't, like you were saying earlier, this isn't a trial run, right?
Mm-mm.
You've got to have, every day is a miracle. It's a miracle that it's a mathematical impossibility that we exist, right?
Yeah.
this this this
Yes.
this thing, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so treat it that way, and treat your fellow humans that way.
Yeah.
um that's for another, we'd have a whole other conversation about that too.
We need to have many.
I know. I can come back anytime.
Absolutely. Would love to have you back. Thank you for the tip today. Everybody, think
Hey,
about it. Is your head down because you're focusing on the wrong things, or your head is up because life is presenting beautiful things to you? We do live in a crazy world, and
yeah,
you have to decipher that which will make your life more impactful. Colin, great tips,
yeah.
my friend. Great tips.
Hey, thank you. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
Thank you. Have an
Take care,
amazing and
everybody.
exceptional Friday. Everybody, have
Thank
fun.
you.
All right. Enjoy.